in real life. Hello everyone, my name is Bhante Wade Bhuripañño, here at Empty Cloud Monastery in West Orange, New Jersey, doing this live stream with two lay yogis who are staying here at the monastery, taking advantage of the monastery's lay guest program to live by the monastery schedule and deepen their practice for a little while. And Bhante Sudaso asked me to do, he set this up as a guided meditation, and so we'll be doing a guided meditation this evening. And so I think I'll do a different kind of format than I have been doing recently. I have several guided meditations up on the Empty Cloud YouTube channel. I always forget if it's called Empty Cloud or Buddhist Insights, but one of those. And been doing several with a similar beginning with body scan to start before transitioning to breath meditation. I think this evening I'm feeling like just starting right in with the breath. And so maybe we'll go ahead with that now. So I'll ask you to start by assuming your meditation posture. It's quite traditional to sit on the floor. If you are, it's quite traditional to sit cross-legged. You know, there are meditation benches also that can be used, and many people find those very helpful. If you are sitting cross-legged, the easiest way is to sit with one leg in front of the other, kind of like this, if I can get it on the camera. One leg in front of the other, so that they're not touching cross like this. If you're more flexible, then you can intertwine them. If you have more practice sitting that way. Of course, you can sit in a chair as well. Just want to try to sit upright. This is conducive to being alert. Or you could do this meditation while standing also. You just want to assume an upright stance with the legs perhaps about shoulder width apart or a little bit less than shoulder width apart. And if you're standing, you can let your arms hang by your sides, of course, or you could fold them a little bit before your navel. Traditional meditation posture for the hands is to have, let's see, one hand down, try to get this on camera, there we go, and the other hand on top, so one palm up and the other hand resting in the palm of the other one, and then the two thumbs touching like this is a very traditional posture. And so if you're sitting also, you could use this posture for the hands, or you could rest your hands on your knees or on your thighs, or simply fold them comfortably in the lap as you like. And then usually in Theravada Buddhism, we'll meditate with our eyes closed. They say that if you want to see the world outside, then you open your eyes. But if you want to see the world inside, then you close your eyes. But some may not find this comfortable, so you can leave your eyes open if you prefer. If you see a lot of images, for example, distracting you in meditation, if you close your eyes, or if you're feeling sleepy, it can be good to let some light in. And just leave the eyes partly open, gazing in an unfocused way, perhaps at the floor. All right. Now, as I said that I'm going to do a breath meditation, and it occurred to me I'd like to actually provide some additional instructions regarding the hands. You may want to open your eyes for this. This is another technique perhaps we'll employ. Oftentimes in the guided meditations, guided meditators to count their breath, and so it's occurred to me that perhaps if we take a step back and go back to the hands, for some of us who may like to count, it's quite common actually for monastics to do this, to count actually with their hands as well. So we might be counting the breath silently internally, but also keep track with our hands as well. And this may come as a surprise to many people, but many monastics do this as well, and be very effective at helping us keep track of the breath. So for example, if we lay the hands in the lap, and we're counting in sets of 10, it's a common way to count. We might count to 10, and then move one finger. And then count the next set of 10 and move the second finger. Then the third set of 10, move the third finger. Until we get through 5 sets, all 5 fingers. And then we count one finger here, indicating a set of 500. Starting with the next set, 50, not 500, it's 50. So 5 sets of 10. And then starting with the next set, we count from 1 to 10. And then 1 to 10, moving each finger in time, we count 1 to 10. So we get another set of 50, and then we move another finger over here on the other hand. And so then we have 100 breaths. This addition of the physical gestures with the hands seems to be helpful for many people in helping us stay with the breath. And some people keep track of, you might look at a clock at some point and see how many breaths per minute or how many breaths per 10 minutes. I did this years ago and noticed that for me it's about 250 breaths in 10 minutes. So I actually can keep time this way. If I ever want to know how much time is passing or how much time before 10 minutes is up, I can count 250 breaths, and it's like that. And these little tricks can help us to stay with the breath if we have some methodology for keeping us with it. All right. Now if we go back to closing our eyes. And I'd like to ask you to imagine that you have a cord attached at the crown of the head. And it stretches up to the ceiling or up into the sky, gently drawing you into an upright position. And so you can feel your head rise just a little bit. As this cord draws you up, and your neck straighten. And the upper back straighten as well. The middle back straightens a little bit. And then you can let your lower back curve inward just a little bit by rotating your pelvis forward. This is suitable for those who are sitting either on the floor or in a chair. If you're standing, you may want to keep the lower back straight as well. If you're sitting, to help the lower back curve in just a little bit, which is very natural for it, you can rotate your pelvis forward just a little bit. All right, and then we glide back up from the lower back to the middle back into the upper back. Again, remembering that we have this core drawing us into an upright position. And we notice the breath rise and fall just a little bit with the breath. And be aware there. And notice the chest more in full and see how it feels. And allow your shoulders to droop just a little bit. Even though we're keeping the spine relatively straight and the upper body straight, allow the shoulders to droop just a little bit. And be aware of the chest again. And see how it feels as it rises and falls with the breath. All right. And allow the breath to do what it will as we're now becoming aware of it and the rise and fall of the chest. And let it settle into whatever its natural rhythm is before we proceed on to the next step. All right. Next, we'll feel the breath coming in and going out. And then notice it entering all the way up at the nostrils and going out. And do this just a couple of times. And then see if you can pay attention to the breath in its full course, traveling down from the nostrils, through the chest and down to the abdomen. And allow it to go all the way down to the abdomen. And then rise up again and go out. And this may take a few or several breaths to get the hang of. I'm giving the instructions somewhat quickly, and you'll have to see how to apply them with your own breath and with your own awareness. And so I'll give you a moment to practice being aware of the breath in its full course, entering and descending into the body and then rising up again. All right. Now, why don't we, while we're breathing, do a little recollection of peace, help the mind calm down a little bit. We'll simply repeat to ourselves, may I be calm. May I be calm. And we can time it to the breath if it's convenient, if it feels comfortable. So maybe on the in-breath, may I. And on the out-breath, be calm. we do this gently, with a gentle and sincere attitude of, okay, let's be calm. Okay. Now, if we pay attention again to the breath in the chest, and focus in where the chest rises and falls, but right there in the middle of the chest. On that feeling of the chest rising and falling. And right there, I would like to ask you to imagine your spiritual heart. Right there in the middle of the chest. Where you can feel the breath. And imagine your spiritual heart coming down from wherever it is. And coming to rest there. Relaxing into that space. Use your sense of feeling to feel it there with the breath. All right. Now here is where I'd like to ask you to begin counting the breath. Right there in the middle of the chest. And so count 1 on the in-breath and 2 on the out-breath and 3 on the in-breath and so on up to 10. Okay. Now, if you've reached 10, that's good. If not, that's okay too. You can, if you're using your fingers, as I demonstrated before, you can move one finger. And then we'll start again, counting from 1 to 10, with 1 on the in-breath, 2 on the out-breath, 1 on the in-breath, 3 on the in-breath, and so on up to 10. Okay. Now, if you're using the finger counting method, you can move another finger. Makes 2. And then we'll start again, counting another round of 10. And then at the end of another round of 10, you can move another finger if you're using that method. And then we'll simply continue for several more minutes, counting in sets of 10. And I'll give a little bit more instruction about how to deal with distractions after a minute or two. Now, please try to stay with your breath, perhaps counting, if you can, while I talk a little bit about how to deal with distractions. If you find the mind thinking, or if you're distracted by sounds or perhaps feelings in the body, you simply become aware of that you're distracted by. And then we'll practice knowing and letting go. And so if you're thinking, then simply become aware of the thinking, just like any other sense object, like the breath or a sound or something like this, and then just gently say, as you're aware of the thinking, just simply gently say to yourself, thinking, 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 to help you stay with it, like we do with counting the breath. Or the same with sounds, hearing, hearing, hearing. Or with bodily sensations, just simply feeling, 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 as we're mindfully aware of them. Until they pass, or until the mind loses interest in them. And then gently come back to the breath and return to the counting. And so we can continue counting the breath. And then in another minute or two, I'll say a few words about meditating with pain. Or other discomfort. All right. So I'm going to say something now about meditating with pain. And you can stay with your breath and listen to the extent that you feel is worthwhile for you. It can be quite common to experience discomfort, physical discomfort or pain in the body, in life in general and in meditation as well, and perhaps due to our posture while we're meditating, trying to sit still for an extended period of time. And we can use this simply as another meditation object for developing our mindfulness and helping the mind to remain calm, even in difficult circumstances, developing our patience, and growing in wisdom about the body and bodily sensations. If we find it too difficult, though, we can simply, just very mindfully and slowly, adjust our posture, perhaps noticing the mental intentions to do so, and then each movement as we make it, so that we don't disrupt our mindfulness too much. But if we can continue sitting with it and be mindful of it, the practice is simply as I described with regard to dealing with distractions. It's just to be aware of the physical sensation as a sense object like any other, like a sound, for example, or like a cloud passing through the sky. If we were lying in a field and we saw a cloud above us in the sky, if we can regard our physical discomfort in a similar way, it's just as another sense object, and just be aware of it with mindfulness, perhaps using, as I indicated before, the technique of saying feeling, 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 to help us stay with it and keep it in perspective as to what it is. And we'll notice that to the extent that we can be mindful of it, aware of it, the pain seems less intense and the body can relax around it. This is a relief. And then if it passes, or if the mind loses interest in this sensation, then we can return to the breath. If it becomes too difficult to remain mindful with the physical sensation, then we can adjust our posture and do what's necessary to relieve the sensation, just the whole while noticing the mental intentions to do so and the physical movements that we make, slowly and mindfully, remembering that our goal is to develop our mindfulness in this meditation. And then, having adjusted the posture, done what's necessary to relieve the sensation, then we return to the breath again. All right, now we'll continue counting. I'll probably give some more guidance in just a minute. Now, for those of you who are finding it easy to stay with the breath, you found some harmony there, you can try dropping the counting for a little while. And just let your awareness stay there with the breath, with some alertness, keeping track. And see if you can notice it from the beginning and through the middle and to the end of the breath. And then a short pause, and then the beginning, middle, and end again. And in a minute I'll give some guidance for dealing with a busy mind or a sleepy mind, for those who would like it. Okay. Now, if you're finding that the mind is very busy, then you may want to try this. You can go back again to the meditation on peace by simply thinking, as we did at the beginning, may I be calm. May I be calm. May I be calm. And you can try harmonizing it with the breath. So as the breath comes in, you can say, may I, and then as the breath goes out, you can say, be calm. And you can try taking some deeper breaths with this as well, to help the body calm down, and the mind as well. And then if you feel the mind is calmer, you can go back to counting the breaths. You can also, if the mind is very busy, imagine again the spiritual heart relaxing into your chest, right there with the breath. Being aware of it with your sense of feeling. And after several moments, then, if you feel calmer, returning to the breath again. For those of us who are feeling sleepy or drowsy, we can open our eyes. Let some light in. And then imagine again that cord attached to the top of the head, stretching up to the ceiling or up into the sky, drawing us again into an upright position. And with the eyes open, take a few deep breaths very mindfully, inflating the body and then allowing it to go out gently, reinvigorating you. And then using the breath as a way of focusing the mind. Focus the mind on it with some intention and effort. Or, if that seems conducive to sleepiness, be aware of something that you see and focus your intention on it with mindfulness, such as the blank wall or my image on your screen or the floor or the desktop, and trying to just see that which you see with continuous mindfulness. All right. We'll return to the breath again. For those for whom it seems convenient and feels comfortable. For those who are still counting, let's see if we can do a few more sets of 10. And we'll continue for about another minute before drawing the meditation to a close. So perhaps redouble your efforts to be mindful. All right. Now I'm going to bring the meditation to a close by sounding a bell. And I would like to ask you to be mindfully aware of the sound, hearing it as it arises and as it changes and then it passes away. And we'll hear the bell in just a moment. If it helps you to stay with it, you can say hearing, hearing, hearing. Okay. Very good. Now we can bring our hands up and join them palm to palm, very mindfully in front of our hearts. Notice the contact of the palms touching each other. And then, out of gratitude and respect for the meditation, we can say 3 times sadhu, 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 sadhu. And then mindfully lower our hands again to open our eyes if they aren't open already, slowly and mindfully, and notice what we see. Mindfully. And notice how we feel now compared to how we felt before. And I'll take a question or two. We have a few minutes left in this live stream, but take a moment to adjust our postures first, very mindfully, noticing our intention to move, and then making those movements slowly and mindfully. And if anyone has any questions, you can type them in. Comments about your experience also would be welcome. Hello everyone, I didn't say hellos at the beginning. We have Joe and Mike and Manal, and Marielle and Amaranta, Ryan. Welcome, everyone. I hope Joseph made it back safely, and his mother, I assume they did, since Joseph is tuned in. It's very good to see you again. And I'll also take questions from the yogis here if they have any. Everyone's looking very calm. Teddy is contentedly grooming himself on a meditation cushion, on a monastic cat. So I'll draw this live stream to a close if we don't have any questions within a minute or two. But here we come. Here comes one, I should say. Put on my glasses. And we have a question from Sarah. Hi, Ajahn. When the emotion is strongly disturbed, it's hard to sit down and start meditation. Okay. Yes. It's not a question, but yes, it's quite common, isn't it? Sometimes we feel so stirred up in life, we can't even get ourselves to sit down to meditate in the first place. This is, I remember one teacher saying, this is kind of like when you're so sick, you're very, very sick, but you don't feel like going to see the doctor. But that's actually exactly what you need. So, yeah. Perhaps if we can remember that, and that will help. Actually, if we're feeling really stirred up and we don't want to meditate, well, maybe that's a good sign that we really should meditate, because we know meditation is good for us. Okay, we have a question from one of the yogis here, I think, and so I'll go ahead and take that. Yes.
Is it okay if it's more about this meditation session?
Sure.
I feel curious about sleep. A lot of masters suggest, I think maybe even the Buddha, it's just keeping your sleep down to 4 hours. And would you recommend that as a good practice to try and move towards less and less sleep, or are you more in the camp of just get as much rest as your body wants?
Okay, yes, I think you might say kind of, so the question is about how much should we sleep when we're trying to improve our meditation, and this is coming from one of the lay guests here who's at the monastery, and of course a different lifestyle here at the monastery than usually in lay life, out in the outside world. But when we're trying to put more time into meditation and trying to improve our mindfulness, I do generally recommend trying to reduce the sleep to just what you really need physically. And so you have to pay attention to that and how it's affecting your mindfulness, and how much sleep do you really need and how is it affecting your mindfulness. And it's interesting, if you really put your mind to it, I think you may find, I did myself, that you need less sleep than you often feel like you do. And so you want to try to cut back and see how little you can get by on, and see how it affects your mindfulness. You see, one thing that happens is when we have some physical fatigue, then laziness is generated by the heart as well. And the laziness that comes up feels very heavy, and actually you'll find, if your mindfulness is very good, if you can be keenly aware of this, that the laziness is actually quite often the heavier part of the two. And so typically meditators will find themselves kind of improving their mindfulness through meditating more and sleeping a little bit less, and finding that they get a little bit better at mindfulness with this, and then so they up their practice a little bit, and then they sleep a little bit less, and then sometimes they find they go for a while getting too little sleep, and they realize, I have to sleep a little bit more, and so it's a trial and error process. And if you're sleeping less, you really want to try to take advantage of the opportunity then to practice more formal meditation. So maybe wake up earlier than you might usually, and start immediately practicing walking meditation, for example. And or push yourself to do some sitting meditation even, and realize that you don't want to fall asleep. You're going to really try to not fall asleep, and you're going to stay awake and try to develop your mindfulness and put a lot of effort into it. And I think you'll find, as many meditators have, that actually putting some more time into meditation in the morning and getting up earlier rather than sleeping in as much as you'd like to, you'll actually feel better throughout the day. Your moods will be better, and you'll come to appreciate that as a really good way to start the day. It's just one example of how to reduce sleep, and so you can improve your mindfulness. You can see different ways of putting into practice in your own life. All right. So we have some thank you and for the meditation, and sometimes we have a statement here. Sometimes it's been said that sometimes feeling peace after meditation does not necessarily mean that we are practicing well. Okay. One thing you can pay attention to is how good the mindfulness is with the peace. If you can even settle into kind of a dreamy state, or something like this. You can get sleepy and drowsy. These are some examples of what may be considered calm, but it's not actually necessarily good meditation. And so you can see, well, how mindful are you? This can be one good test. And if we look further at some of the other comments, another thank you. And do you have any recommendation about texts that explain this more deeply? So breath meditation, for example. Let's see. I've actually read very few books about meditation. I think there's so many on the market, and free distribution and so on. One book that I found very helpful was a very thin book. When I first started meditating, it was Practical Insight Meditation by the Mahasi Sayadaw. A very simple method. It's very effective, and many meditators have found very effective, and it's taught quite widely. So I can mention that again. It's called Practical Insight Meditation by the Mahasi Sayadaw, and maybe I can write that here. And also put this in the comments. And another one that seems quite popular that I actually haven't read is Mindfulness in Plain English by Bhante Gunaratana. Mindfulness in Plain English. It's been reprinted multiple times. He's written other companion books to it. And so perhaps I can mention that one simply as it's quite popular. And so apparently many meditators have found it very helpful. There's two. All right. Then another question from Sarah. How to not judge the performance of each of our meditation sessions. Well, how to not judge it? How to not judge all of our meditation sessions? Well, I guess it may depend a little bit on your criteria. One thing you can check in with yourself on is were you actually trying? Were you actually trying to meditate? And it's quite natural for the mind to wander, and we might get lost in thought at other times. And I myself actually found this in the past in meditating. I remember in the early days of my meditation, I sometimes, especially once the body felt comfortable sitting, you could sit for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and not feel a lot of pain and discomfort. Then I might even find that I've been daydreaming for a large part, or maybe it seemed like even the entire meditation session. And then I'd be kind of annoyed with myself. What am I doing? I just daydreamed through this whole time. And then so I started kind of judging myself on that criteria. And did I put forth some effort some of the time? And am I paying attention over time to how things are going? And sometimes trying to make adjustments if I'm noticing I'm falling into patterns that aren't working well for me. But that's perhaps more important if you're finding patterns over time. Things aren't going well in your meditation. Not judging yourself on each and every meditation session. Did this one, did I do as well as I did last time, or the ideal time I meditated? And recognize, that that's not really what it's all about. It's not going to be the same every time. and it's not always going to meet our ideals. And you might think about this faculty of criticism, and think about, well, would I do that with other people? You know, if their meditation session went well today, or then it went badly tomorrow, would I criticize them for having a bad meditation session next time? Or would I criticize their meditation at all? You know, if I notice that they're sitting, if I know someone's, you know, they are sitting down and trying to have a regular practice, but if I thought they're meditating inappropriately, or if they weren't getting the results that they should, or anything like this, would I criticize them for this? And then think, well, you know, I'm just like anybody else, and so why should I be criticizing myself? These are some ideas you can think of. You know. All right. Well, we've gone a little bit over time, and so I'll bring this to a formal close now, and we can do that by perhaps raising our hands again, and everyone, we can rejoice in each other's meditation practice while coming together like this. And once again, we'll 3 times say sadhu, 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 sadhu. All right. May you all be well. And we'll have more live streams coming up, of course, each day. Thursday and Friday, we've got live streams in the mornings and in the evenings, as well as the in-person Dharma events on Saturday evening from 6 to 7:30 here at Empty Cloud, and in the afternoon on Sunday from 1 to 4. We also have volunteer opportunities at the monastery starting at as early as 8 a.m., although most don't really come until 9, but and then the meal offering, and then the Dharma event starting at 1 o'clock. The meal offering, we ask you to be here by 10:30. It starts at 11, the meal proceedings. And tea every evening here at Empty Cloud at 5 o'clock, except for Tuesday evening. But if you come at 5 o'clock any other evening, it'll be Dhamma discussion, you can have some refreshments. And if you'd like to find more guided meditations, there are more on the Empty Cloud and Buddhist Insight or / Buddhist Insights YouTube channel. You search for guided meditations in quote, guided meditation in quotes, and see if you can find some there. I'm sure there's several there still. And best wishes to you all. May you all prosper in the Dhamma. Have a good night.